In these points, so we'll be covering these contents as part of our course. So out here, we'll be working on managing the relationships within the software, of course. That will be followed by working with calculations. When I say calculations means we'll be working on new measures, quick measures, new columns and tables. We'll also be working with new parameters for what-if analysis. And then we'll also understand the help, community and resources in help menu. Having said that, let's quickly launch the software. Let's load it rather quickly. So, of course, as usual, that's your work canvas for Power BI, which is in the report views format. If you change it over here, it will be in data and the model format. These are your fields, typically filters, fields and visualizations. That apart, you have the pages out here that you can increase or reduce as you want to. So I'll close them. We don't need them anyway, not for the immediate basis. I click on modeling out here. Now, modeling out here, what do I see? Well, I can see the relationships section. We also have the calculations section where we can add a new measure, quick measure, new column, new table. You can also change the detection, which is also called as a page refresh, which means if you make any changes and if you refresh it, then the changes will be reflected in that particular page. Also have what-if analysis, which covers a new parameter, security, which is typically part of the admin process. The admins will decide what can be viewed by whom and to what extent and what level and what detail. And we have the Q&A, linguistic schema, language. You can select which language you want out here. We selected English as a default language. We also have the Q&A setup out here. With these points in mind, move towards importing a data set and seeing and working how it all turns out. Let us click on import data from Excel. Let us see what all kind of data set do we have. Okay, let's select financials. I click OK. So it's loading the financials data set. And out here, these are the details that we have. I don't know what's there in sheet 1 though. Let us select financials. Yeah, that's what this is about. And in sheet 1, what do we have in sheet 1? Okay, this table is empty, so we don't need to import it anyway. So fine, we are importing the financials worksheet and I click load. That should appear over here somewhere. No, it will appear here rather. We're working on it. So out here, when I click, these are the attributes. So these are the columns that are available over here. Now we can see that some of these column names are missing. I don't know what this column stands for, so that is something I'll have to look into. Column 15 as well, column 16 as well. But it does appear that these were the tables that were created, although they have never been in use. So let us also click on this and see. Yeah, okay. Sector, sec filings, symbol. Let us go to the original data set and see what is it out there that we are not seeing here. To financials, okay. Come back here, column 14, 15 and 16. Let's look at here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 and 16. So that's 15th and 16th column, but it's not mentioned here. But we do have the SEC filings, the sector, symbol. So these 3 columns are available to us, except that we do not have them as a summation. So we don't know what is 14, 15 and 16. We'll do this a little later. So let's do one thing. Let us delete these 3. We have these, but we're not using them. So we'll come here and I will delete from model. Yes. I'll click here and again select delete from model. Yes. Come in, I'll delete this also from model. Now these 3 are gone, okay, and they are not available out here also on the filters visual. So I'm closing this window, this and this. Fine, so everything is now clear. In the columns also out here, they are not available. So we'll delete these 3 also. And this visual, okay, I'll delete this, remove it. These 3 things are now done. Now let us quickly go on the modeling. So out here we have the manage relationships, but it is deselected, of course. So let's click on this. Do we have any other sheet that we can open in simultaneity to ensure that? Yeah, let's import gold. So let's come here. I'm importing another sheet. I'll click on file, on get data, and I'll select here drop down, select all files, and I'll select gold data set, and I click open. Yeah, so that's what we have here, and I click load. Again, the objective is to try and establish a relationship between both the worksheets. So let's see if that's going to work out. So I select here. You see both the gold and the financials. Okay, so I'm clicking here and I'm selecting manage relationships or manage aggregations. I can also select. So these are the additional options that we have. We can select columns. Let's select columns. So which columns do you want to select? Out here, if you want to select this column will be reflected over here. Then you come here and you can create a hierarchy. So I create a hierarchy. So price hierarchy is mentioned over here. Okay, if you want to delete it, you can come here and click and select and click on delete from model. So that price hierarchy will be gone. I have not gone into what is price hierarchy and all that. That is not being done yet. So this is what we have, and if I click on gold, these are the values that are available over here. What do we have here on the data set? Out here we are seeing the financials. If I click on gold, that particular data set will open up over here. Fine, then let's go on the modeling here. Let's click on manage relationships. So we can see there are no relationships defined as such. So let's click on new, and if I click on suppose financials, so in financials these are the set of columns that are available to us, and instead of gold, these are the set of columns that are available to us. So if I click on cardinality, okay, I can select this whichever we want. Okay, let us select. I'm selecting symbol. Okay, now obviously there is not much of a relationship anyway, but we are creating one out here. I'll pick another data set also, and I'll also create a relationship there for you to understand. Out here, we're just taking a quick look on how will the entire graphical user interface work like. So I select on cardinality 1 to 1. I can also select many to 1, 1 to many, many to many. I'm selecting 1 to 1, and cross filter directions work both ways. So this is how this relationship has been created, and I click close. So let's come here. So this is what you see here, that since we have created a relationship, we can see that this line, this connector is, the relationship is reflected by this connector. Now if I click on this, right click, it will show us the properties. So I click on properties. So what is it showing me on the property? What is the cardinality of this relationship? Which two worksheets are involved in creation of this relationship? And what is the cross filter direction? Make this relationship active. Okay, now suppose if I change this singly, the filter direction selected isn't valid for this relationship. If I want, I can make it many to 1. Yes, let us make this many to 1 single. So I click OK. So out here it will change from many to 1. So out here you see the star, and here you can see 1. This star is what? Many. And this is 1. Earlier, let's come back here, right click and click properties. Earlier it was 1 to 1 with both sides, and I click OK. So you can see it's 1 to 1. So for 1 to 1 it's 1 here and it's 1 here. So it is a reflection that it is 1 to 1 relationship. Again, if I come back here and I click properties, and if I change this here from many to many, supposedly apply security filter in both directions. If it is expected that neither column contains unique values and blah 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 blah. So okay, this is saying it is giving you alarm. So I click OK. So out here, when you change many to many, this will also become a star or an asterisk symbol, and this will become a star or an asterisk symbol. And out here you can see that this is how the relationship will be reflected out here. As the relationship changes, its representative form also changes here on the model. See again out here, it's now connected 1 to 1. This is how you will be creating the relationships. And let me quickly come here on the report views. Go to file. I'll click save as. I'll go on our designated location. I'll write here relationships. save it. So that is what we've done. Now what do I intend to do here is, I intend to create a new measure or a quick measure. So choose from the list of common calculations and add the results to a select table. So for that I need to create a table also, but that's fine. I click on quick measure first. Okay, so it is asking me which kind of calculation do you want to use. So I'm selecting here variance per category or max per category. Okay, base values, okay, we don't have any base values out here. I'm selecting 52-week low out here. Okay, we don't have any base value here. Nor is this activating here. Let's click on this. Within the category, if I select the field here is what, 52-week high. Selecting this. Add to the base value. Okay. And, so this is the max per category. The base value we are taking this. You can also change this over here as what is the sum value that we're taking. You can also take it as a maximum value. If I click on field, deselect this, and if I select 52-week high, 52-week low, right click on this and click on add to the category. Okay, then I click OK. So we can see here that this is how we have created a measure, a quick measure. Name of this quick measure is what they have named it. So max of 52-week high, max per 52-week low is equal to max of keep filter values, blah blah blah, and this. Okay, so this is the quick measure that was created. Now if I bring this and drag it over here, so it shows me the max of 52-week high, max per 52-week low. So out here it's 1589. That is a 52-week high that it shows me. So this is how you'll be using a quick measure in the modeling. Fine. So as we continue with this, I'll also take some filters out here and some more visualizations. We'll also be creating some new measures and new columns or new tables in which we'll be further integrating and adding newer measures and newer calculations. So what we did here is we created a quick measure. Obviously, we created a visual out of it. That's what we are seeing here. Let us add the visuals on the filters. And why just that? We can also add some more of the relationships. So let us click on quick measure. Let us create the min category. Okay. We go to the financials and we'll take the minimum dividend yield. So I'm selecting the minimum dividend yield. I'm adding it as a base value. And for the category, I'm selecting structure. Add to category. And I click OK. So yeah, we can see here the dividend yield that we are seeing here. And out here, of course, it has been created. Dividend yield is calculated sums of financials and things like that. So that is how they have created it. I'm going to add another visual out here. So let's add dividend yield. Again, this is also quick measure. So that is the sum of the dividend yields that we have generated. And we are seeing the minimum dividend yield per sector is 22.70. That is the value that we are seeing here. Okay, let's come back to the worksheet out here, financials. Okay. So out here, we have the dividend yield that we are seeing here. Bringing it down over here, we have the maximum value of 12.661 and the minimum value is 0. So anyway, this is the dividend yield that we have taken. Earlier, we had taken the 52-week high value out here. And there we had selected 1589. That was the maximum value that we had got out there. So again, coming back on the software here. So this is the dividend yield that we've taken. If we want, we can also add another measure out here. So I click on modeling, I add a quick measure. Instead of quick measure, let's select a new measure. For the new measure, what are we taking the new measure's name as? Yeah, let's go back to modeling and click on new measure. We are taking the sum. Instead of taking it as a sum, we will take the price to book earnings is equal to, and let us take the sum. Now we have the entire gamut of entire list of functions that are available over here. So I'm just taking the sum x, or we'll just take sum of what? I'll take the price to book earnings, right? So there is price to book out here. See, out here in this we can read, yeah, price to book, and I'm closing this window and I click enter. So we have created the price to book earnings measure out here. Now let us bring it over here for this visual. Oops, not here actually. I'll select this and I'll bring the price to book earnings out here. Now we can see here that the value is of course quite high compared to dividend yield that we have selected. We can go here and we can also make the changes here. We have added, so let us take dividend yield on the x-axis. Can we take it on the x-axis? No, we cannot. We've already taken it on the y-axis. So if I were to take these values on sectoral basis, what I'll do is I'll select the sector. I'll bring it over here on the x-axis. So on the x-axis, when I bring the sectoral values, of course, we can see that the book price to book earnings is the highest for the consumer discretionary and second highest for the consumer staples. And we see it's one of the lowest amongst the telecom services, maybe other sectors also, as we can see here. In case of information technology, it's high. In case of utilities also, it's low. But in case of telecom services, it's very low, really. Can't even, yeah, it's 11.15. So again, this is how you are creating a new measure that you are adding to your existing worksheet, and we'll also save it. So let's go on file, let's save this. Now if I click on manage relationship, right, we already have manage relationships. If you click on auto detect, there are no new relationships found, so I'll click close. I click close here as well. If I go back to the reports, out here I can see that we created a new measure rather quickly. Now this was for the 52-week high. If I want to do something similar for the 52-week low, again I click on modeling, I click on new measure, and out here the measure is what? 52-week low is equal to what? How do I take that as min? Yeah, so out here it's min of, yeah, min of the 52-week low. I close this bracket. I click enter. So I can see here the 52-week low has been generated over here. This measure is generated. Now I'll drag it and drop it over here. No, wait, that we have to select this measure, this visual first. So I'm selecting on 52-week low and dragging and dropping it over here. So again, what do I see here? Well, this is the 52-week high that we had, and this is the 52-week low. Oh, that's too low. Okay, let's go back to the report, and I'll deselect this max value that we have here. So the 52-week low is what? 6.59. Now similarly, I'll take another measure for 52-week high. So let's click on new measure. Why am I doing it? Because I want to add the same out here on this particular visual. This is again going to be measure. We are taking 52-week high is equal to max of, let's scroll down over here and select the 52-week high. I'll close the parenthesis, click enter. It's already used in the column, so choose a different name. Okay, let's choose a different name. Let's do one thing. High. Let's see if this is going to work. And I'll change this here as 52WK. And fine, let's click enter. Right, so it has now created a 52-week high. Yes, so that's what we have here. I'll drag it and put it. No, wait, we need to select the visual first, and then I'll drag it and drop it over here. Out here, the 52-week is high anyway, 1589. So obviously, out here, the lower value is 6.59. And if I take this out here on what sector? Yeah, okay, let's take it on sector. Suppose if I take the sector and drag it and drop it out here on the x-axis in the visualizations. So this is how the 52-week weekend 52 high sector wise will appear. So if I take industrials, its 52-week high is 256.40, the low is 30.59. In case of consumer discretionary, it's high. Yes, it is high, 1589, followed by the information technology, of course. This is how you are creating this is how you are using the modeling menu for creating new measures or quick measures. You can also create new columns and new tables. Let's go and click on manage relationships. What do we see here? Close this. Yeah, let's come out here and see it. So out here we're able to see that we have established two relationships between financials and gold. If we wish to add another worksheet out here, we can add it and we can generate a new relationship between them as well. So let us do one thing. Let us quickly go to the report views here, and I'll also create a new page for the gold. Now we are working here. The page one was typically meant for the dividend yield sectoral analysis. Let's rename this page as sector analysis. And we can also add a text box out here. So what do I add here? Sector analysis, and I'll mention here 52-week high and 52-week low. We also have the sector analysis is for this, and the dividend yield analysis for, no, that's not actually, it's sector analysis again, and dividend yield and price to book earnings. Price to book earnings comparison. Right, so this is how, okay, there is a typo here. Dividend and then, yeah, right, yield. Oops. Quite a bit of typos. This is how your overall usage of modeling menu will appear and look like. Of course, I'm going to keep saving this. It's working on it. I click on modeling again. Now let's work on new parameter. What if parameters lets you see how the data behaves under different conditions, add them to reports as slices, or reference them in other DX operations also. Country specific comparison that we made, again, individual for each country separately, but country against one country against another country. And the same holds true for Russia. Non-renewables consumption is higher than the renewables energy source. And China tops the list. Let's do some bit of analysis on China and United States. See, what do we see? In case of United States, the nuclear electricity is the highest. It's the highest for United States. And when we speak of the non-renewables, yes, overall consumption is higher for China, but when we speak of individual consumption, United States is the highest in fossil fuels and also in the renewables energy. So we can write in China, it's US. US tops the list for both renewables, non-renewables energy. So this is how you'll prepare a comparison. I'm going to save this slide And then you can go further. You can take, like, out here in this, in the countries that we have, the list that we have, you can identify different countries and you can compare only those countries. So typically, if you want, if you take country name, we can add a filter here. That is not something I've picked up, but that's okay. I click here in the filters, you can see that we have the country name. So I'm selecting here. This is basic filtering. Okay. If I want, I can go to advanced filtering also out here. I can also select top N. So top N. So when I say show items, top what? Top 10 countries. Okay. By value? Yes, by value. And oops, what's going wrong here? Add data fields here. So when I speak of data fields here, well, which field do you want to add? Let us select nuclear energy. And I click apply filter. So these are the top 10 countries that we see here in terms of nuclear energy consumption. Again, we are seeing other sources also, but we have applied the filter for nuclear electricity. Okay, so out here you can see that when we speak of, when you apply for it, it will appear like this in your, so when you apply a filter, that is how your the report will change or modulate. Let's come back here. Now again, you can see here that once I change the page number here, the filters will disappear because the filters that I had applied here, they are for the filters that are applied here, they are applicable for the non-renewables page. If I select on renewables, okay, out on renewables, you will not see any of those filters applied. Again, so these are the features that you'll need to learn and understand. Fine, let us do one thing. I'll remove the filters here. Let's come back here. I'll remove the filter here. Okay, you can lock also this filter so that no one can make any changes here. If you click on this little lock that you see here, you can lock the filter as well. Fine, so this is what we have. That apart, what more can we do? Let us take a third page. Now let us select limited few countries for which we'll perform the analysis of fuel consumption. Or instead of that, let us take another kind of project. Let us select GDP. We'll take the country names also, GDP, population, and the country name. GDP wise and in terms of population, US is the highest, followed by China, followed by Japan, India, and so on. Wait, I've not applied any filters or anything specific. So we'll come to that a little later. But then if you come back here on creating a report, typically, this is how your report should appear or look like. So we're having a GDP and population on the y-axis and we're having the country name on the x-axis. Obviously, these are the summation values that you're seeing here. See, for GDP, it's what, 664 and 10, 15 zeros. The point is, it is the richest country in the world, of course. Its GDP is supposed to be the highest. Then it's followed by China, and then by Japan, and India comes at rank number 4, followed by Germany, UK, France, Italy. So India is not doing as badly as we see here. Of course, there is a population figure also out here that is probably adding to it. But okay, anyway, so this is one thing. Now, what can we add here? Oh, this is one kind of visualization that I've picked for you all. Let us do one thing. I'll close this page. I don't want this to save this page. Let us select another data. Okay, so I'm saving this and I'll close this file. Still have decent amount of time. I'm saving this file. I'm closing this session. Okay, I'll open a fresh session for Power BI in which I'll import a different data set and then we'll go forward on that. I intend to create a line graph. So let's see how that will unfold. So I'm closing this session. I'm clicking on Power BI desktop again. We opened a fresh session. We have the screen, the home screen ready for it. And I want to import the data. Now let's see which of these is in Excel format. We have the banking data. most of this. Okay, let's work on Bitcoins. But these are, again, these are also in CSV format. Yes, I think this is an interesting data. Oh, I'm importing the data. Let's click on File, Get Data, or let's click Import. No, we cannot import from anything. You have to click on Get Data. The file format is in TXT or CSV format, so I select it. I'll go on the data sets that I have maintained. Bits, that's for the Bitcoins. Clicking Open here. Another file that I have selected for another example. So we see here, these are the first 200 rows. Let's select based on the entire data set. These are the prices, okay, token one, and these are like, oh, that's quite a bit of, quite a quantity of price data that we have. Never mind. So the what is a file type? It's a comma. So particularly it's a CSV file format as we see it. And the file origin is in this with Western European Windows format or whatever. Okay, so let's cancel this. Let's not waste your time or my time. Let's click on Get Data. Click on text or CSV file. Bits, and I click Open. So I click on Load. Okay, there is one error. So let's view the error. This is interesting. There could be some missing data or some error in the apply changes. Okay, let's click on apply changes and see what comes. Yeah, okay, they have resolved it. No worries, great. What do we see here? These are the prices. Let's bring them out here. That's O byte, O byte 2. I'm taking substratum, I'm taking syntropy, and I'm taking token. Now, what is this token underscore one? Well, these are the different values. So I'll come to that a little later. I have calculated the returns data. So that is how it will show up. Let's click on date as well. Right. So, and let us select line chart. Should it show up? Yes, we have a line chart here today. Now the difference here is this is a very big file, not substratum. O byte. Yeah, okay. The O byte is gone. We'll retain token. So that is how your line chart will appear on your Power BI. So now what do we see here? Now we are seeing here on the x-axis, we have the year. And on the y-axis, we have the price data, typically for Syntropy, Substratum, and token. So these are the three Bitcoin prices or Bitcoin values that we have taken on the y-axis. On the x-axis, that is the years. So what do we see here? When you bring it here, these are the summation values, okay, for each year, 2019, 2020, 2021, and then we see here 2022 for some parts. This is how you'll be plotting and drawing your line graphs for your time series data. So this is when I speak of time series data, you can see here. Let's go on the table format. Okay, let's come to that. Come back to this a little later. Out here, when we plot these details, not all of them, let's select O byte, substratum, syntropy, and token, the dates. That is for O byte. Okay, let's deselect it. This is how you plot your line graph, of course. And out here, we can add, we have added the filters. If you want, you can make the changes here. You can provide advanced filtering, basic filtering for the date or the day type. Again, you can do the same for quarter, year, month type also. Out here, these are the Bitcoins that we have selected. Their data is also reflected over here. So if you want, you can take the token values, you can apply the filter over here. Again, if you want, you can also apply the filters on syntropy and substratum also. On the x-axis out here, we can see on the visualizations, of course, out here in visualizations, on x-axis, you see the different periods that are shown over here. Supposedly, if I deselect or if I close year, this will change. Quarter will change, month will change, and the daily price data will appear somewhat like this.